You know how to factorize these types of quadratics?
No.
So, first of all, do you know what a quadratic looks like?
Uh,
What shape is it?
no, I'm not sure.
Okay. So you know how you have straight line graphs y equals mx plus c?
Yeah.
They would look like this, right?
Yeah.
So now we are going to learn about quadratics, which are like y equals ax squared plus bx plus c.
Okay.
And they're always going to look like that, U shape. It might be like here, it might be here, it might be here, but they're always going to be U shape. That's why we get two answers, this one and this one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a method to get the two answers really easily. You need to practice to get fast at it, but it's always going to be two numbers that times to make that and add to make that, times to make that, add to make that, times to make that, add to make that.
Okay.
Okay. So let's try and think of the two numbers. When you first start out, just think of that eight, okay? And then try to work out all the factors of it and pick the one that adds up to six. Yeah. So you've got 1 times 8,
Mm-hmm.
2 and 4, 4 and 2, 8 and 1, minus 1 and minus 8, and so on. We won't need all of them anyway. Which one of those pairs add up to 6?
2 and 4.
Cool. So that's the answer. The answer is, in this form, x plus 2, x plus 4.
Okay.
We factorized it now. If it asks you to solve, you just write x equals minus 2 and x equals minus 4. Because for it to be 0, you'd have to get the opposite number. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. So what about the next one? What do I need two numbers at times to make?
4.
Minus 4.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? So you can have 1 and minus 4, 2 and minus 2, or 4 and minus 1. Those are all the combinations that
4
work.
and minus 1. Is it?
Perfect. So how would you write your answer? Y,
Um, plus 4. Y minus 1.
good, equals 0. That's factorize. And if it says to solve, what would I write?
Y equals minus 4. Y equals 1.
Well done. Perfect. We'll do one more, and then you can practice afterwards. So what numbers do I need to times to make in the third question?
25.
Cool. That's 1 and 25. What else? Just go in
Um,
order. So 1, 2, 3. What's the next multiple?
5 and 5.
Perfect. Are there anything else?
No.
And then 25 and 1.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. But then you've also got like what does it need to add up to?
10. So 5
What
and
is it
5.
what does it have to add up to? Be careful.
Oh, minus 10.
Minus 10. What would the number be then? Because it can't be those, right? So
Yeah.
that's where we have to kind of be a bit clever about it. So I'm also going to put a few more multiples. Minus 1 and minus 25 and minus 5 and minus 5. So what would the answer be?
Minus 5 and minus 5.
Good. Y minus 5, bracket, y minus 5 equals 0. And what's the final answer?
Y equals 5. Y equals 5.
Good. We'll practice all together. We'll practice all together, but let's look at the other type. Okay. Um, we'll do this first and then we'll do one more type. Okay. This one, there's two methods. One is just memorizing the pattern, which I'll show you in a second. First, I'll show you the long method. So if I look at the first question, I would write x squared plus 0x minus 25 equals 0. Well, I don't need to equal to 0, I just need to factorize it. So I need two numbers that multiply to
25.
mm, mm,
0.
minus 25.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, don't forget the sign, yeah. And add up to.
0.
Good. What two numbers multiply to minus 25, but they actually add to 0?
Um, minus 25 and
Well, it can't be minus 25 and 1, or it can't be 1 and minus
uh,
125. So what's the other option?
minus 5 and 5.
Yeah. If it's going to add up to 0, it has to be the same number contradicting itself. So it has to be 5 and minus 5 in every single time. So it'll be x plus 5, x minus 5. The other method is just to memorize that these scenarios are special scenarios. So it would always be the square root of the number. So y plus what? Y minus what?
Y plus, oh, for A,
For b? What's the square root of 49?
7.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. 7 times minus 7 is minus 49. 7 plus minus 7 is 0. Next one.
Y plus, oh, W plus 10. W minus 10.
Next one.
C plus 9. A.
Close. 8. Good. Well done. Perfect. And then you see for like I, it's the same thing. You just square root them both. So square root of 16 is 4. And you do 4 plus x, 4 minus x.
Mhm.
Yeah, cool. So you just square root them and put them in position using this pattern. So square root of the a squared is a, square root of the b squared is the b. You do a plus b, a minus b. Cool. These ones are no different, but they're just a little bit harder. But I'd probably recommend you do them after you practice the first ones. So in this case, you're just going to square root everything you see. So if I do that one, it'll be h plus p squared, h minus p squared.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. Finally, we have the harder quadratics, which you have to know for your exam. This is there's one really long method to do this, but what I would recommend is the trial and error method. First of all, you have to be very sharp at expanding brackets. Okay. So for example, you see for A, you're gonna be like, okay, this has to be 2x and x. Do you get it? Why it's 2x and x?
Yeah, because it's,
Because when you expand, you're gonna be like that,
yeah.
that, that, and that.
So b 2x squared. Yeah.
Yeah. So it has to be, there's only going to be one factor. They won't make a hard one here. It's just going to be one option. So 2x and x. For the number that goes here and here, you need two numbers that multiply to 2. So what are all the different numbers that multiply to make 2?
1, 2,
Yeah.
2, and 1.
So I have a 50-50 chance of getting it right. I'm going to put 2, I can put 2 here and 1 here, or 1 here and 2 here. Yeah. What do you want to go with as a guess?
2 at the first one, 1 in the second.
How would I check if this is correct?
Expanding the brackets.
Check. So it'll be 2x squared plus
Um, 2x.
2x again plus 2. Wrong. Yeah. Then we just change it and put the other one.
Yeah.
You can write it again if it's in an exam, or you could just change it. It's up to you. You don't really get any working out marks for all of that. So now I'll expand and check. 2x squared plus 4x plus 1x plus 2. It worked. So that's the answer. So if I grab the answers for these, 2x plus 1 equals 0, x plus 2 equals 0, x equals minus 2, and x equals minus 1 over 2.
Yeah.
I have to just equate each of the bracket to 0 and then get the answer. Okay. That was the hardest bit that we did, probably the hardest part of quadratics.
Okay.
So if we do b together, what do I need in my brackets?
2x and x
Good. And then
plus
how do I?
something that multiplies to 5.
Exactly. And what are all the different variations?
1 and 5, 5 and 1.
Hmm. Then you just get lucky or you try both and you expand and you check. Okay. I'll move on to the next example because it will get a bit more. I'll move on to D so that you get a better idea of what the harder scenarios will look like.
Okay.
So for D, you're going to be like, okay, again, it has to be 2x and it has to be x. They never make it that hard for the first bit. They'll just make it harder for the other two bits. So 36 has so many factors. So it could be 1 and 36, 2 and
17,
18,
18.
3 and
Um, 12,
good, 4 and 9,
9.
6 and 6, and then 9 and 4. So it'll
Yeah.
repeat, okay? So I could pick any of these and the reverse of them, which is so long. I saw this on a video that the person recommended if you're using this method to always start with the numbers that are nearer to each other and then try those last. So let's just go with that pattern um, and try the sixes and see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So if I put plus 6, then what do I do? What would I do now if this was in an exam?
Work it out, expand the bracket.
Expand it and check. Yeah. So what do I get?
Uh, 2x squared plus 36.
No,
Oh, oh yeah,
try again.
plus
2x times 6.
4x
Yep. And then,
plus 6x plus
so it's wrong,
36.
it's wrong, it's wrong.
Yeah.
So it'll be 18. That's not good. Yeah. So we have to get rid of that. Whoops. We just have to get rid of that one. We try 4 and 9 or 9 and 4, see what happens. Which one do you want to try? 9 and 4 or 4 and 9?
9 and 4.
Okay. Expand it. 2x squared plus 8x plus 9x plus 36. Does that work or not work?
Yeah, that works.
Perfect. Get rid of this and then write the answer. So it equals 0. What does x actually equal? If x
Negative
was 4,
4.
yep, negative 4. And do you know how to do the other one?
Yeah. What? Divide 9 by 2.
It'll be minus 9 over 4, over 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
Okay,
make
smart.
it, well, if you're not sure, you do 2x plus 9 equals 0 and you rearrange it. Okay, that's it really. That covers everything. It's just about practicing a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you try one. So can you try G? So for this one, as you said, we're going to do 3x and x because they expand to make 3x squared. And the only factors of 1 are 1 and 1.
Yeah.
So we're definitely going to put 1 and 1 here. That was actually a really easy one. Then you expand and double check. So you get 3x squared plus 3x plus 1x, which makes the right answer. And then we have to actually answer it if it says solve. If it says factorize, that's all we do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If it says solve, we have to get an answer for that and an answer for that. Basically, the long way is x plus 1 equals 0, 3x plus 1 equals 0, and work out each of them. But we know that x will be minus 1, and we know that x will be minus 1 over 3.
Yeah.
You're just rearranging that by minusing 1, then dividing by 3. Let's do one more where you actually have to decide a factor, which is not like that easy. Let's do E, and then we'll stop. So, well done. You put 5x and x, because they're the only things that multiply to the 5x squared. 12 has a lot of factors, like you said. You've got 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, 4 and 3. And then it repeats 6 and 2, 12 and 1. So we don't need to include those. But we may need to swap. So um, let's write 6 and 2. Let's just start with 3 and 4. See what happens, yeah? Because they're close together. 5x squared plus 20x plus 3x. There you go, done. That's the answer. Let me get rid of this. How would you actually answer the question? X equals?
minus 4,
Yep.
uh, minus 3,
Over.
5.
Good. So, but the key is, you know the method now, but the key is I can do expanded brackets in 1 second. You do it in 30 seconds, which is fine. But if you want to get good at this topic, just get good at expanding brackets quickly, which you need to do anyway for the top grades. That's it.
Yeah.